sigh of relief as 2SRL Season 8 is over. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. You're joining us for 2SRL Season 9 Tier 2. It's a British Grand Prix, bit of a delayed start here. We enter the qualifying with 3 minutes left on the clock, and X-Crystal's currently pole. They've got a Merc 1-2, but a lot of drivers still to set their final lap. But just before we get to that, I've got Boosted Mess as my co-commentator today. Hello, Boosted Mess.
Yep, good afternoon everybody. Hope everyone's having a good afternoon this lovely Sunday day. And yeah, hope everyone's ready to see some racing.
Yeah, it's looking like definitely a dry quali, but the race, we don't know what the weather will be for the race. Britain known to thrown up a few spanners in the works with regards to weather, so we might see some wet stuff in the actual race. But for now, it's dry, and I'm just trying to get up to speed here then. So X-Crystals and John X, the Mercedes boys, have locked out the front row for now. But I'm seeing the likes of Hammers on an outlap. There's Bance actually joining. Might be actually seeing Bance on track for this one as well. But yeah, I know Hammer is a very fast boy, but he's on the, is that right? Yeah, he's on the medium tire. Has he set that? No, he's on soft, but he's actually set that 24.4 on a medium, which is absolutely insane. I mean, that's even a bit faster than I can go on soft.
Yeah, that's very impressive stuff there. Absolutely. Just coming back to the weather situation, we have seen quite a lot of rain actually in the previous races during the week so far, so I wouldn't at all be surprised if we at least get some cloud cover and a little shower maybe at some point.
Yeah, quite a lot of these drivers are not well known to me. Hyper is one, Hawkeye as well, Zola. Seeing a lot of guys here that I'm not familiar with, which is going to be good because we'll have to see how they get on in the race. But there is a lot of guys I am familiar with. XP is one of them. Hyper is on a lap at the minute actually, and I'm just seeing as he goes through Maggots, Beckett's, quite a fast sequence of corners. I do love this track, just seeing the cars go through Maggots, Beckett's there. The momentum, the exit onto this hangar straight, crucial in the race as he heads into sector 3, and she got a delta time coming up pretty soon here. Yeah, he's into the final section. He does have some traffic ahead of him here, but I think it's far enough ahead not to affect him. Oh, and he gets a big tank slapper on and actually invalidates just at the line there, so I don't think that lap would have counted anyway. But we'll join Hammer as he's on these soft tires, and no doubt he will be able to go better than his 24.499 on mediums.
Yeah, he's on a bit of a flyer at the minute. It's a lovely track this, loads of sweeping bends on it, it just flows really well. All the drivers of course getting their last flying laps in now before the end of the quali session, ready for the race.
Yep, Hammer heading down that hangar straight, throwing the car into stove corner. You don't want to run out too wide there, you will invalidate. We'll probably see a few warnings throughout the race in that corner alone. And through the final few corners, easy to lose time here and can gain time. Oh, an express.
Oh, the slow moving Mercedes there, just kind of, yeah, that was risky.
And Hammer puts it on the front row. He splits the Mercedes, and look at that time. What is that, 100th off X-Crystals?
Yep, that's yeah, 1/100th of a second. That's an incredible lap time from both drivers there, actually. High 23s.
Yeah, so
In
we
fact, the
got
top three very, very close together. Top four very, very close together. In fact, when you look through, this is a really, really tight field.
Yeah, I'm just following John X at the minute, and I'm not sure if he's up or down on his time. We'll see here as he comes out of Magus Beckett's. And he takes a nice line through there, run out wide onto the curb on the exit, and he is slightly up, or sorry, down actually on his time. And yeah, I mean, I've seen this in a race during the week in SLR. Like someone made up like half a second in the final sector, so even though he's down on his time, he might find a lot of time here in the final sector, and nice and tidy through there, a bit of a squiggle, but yeah, he's not able to improve with that run. And we're running out of drivers here to, I think that's it actually, that's our
I think
grid.
that's it, yep. Zola pitting there, as does Hyper, so everybody else has completed their flying laps or has retired already, so yep, that's us, that's our grid. We've got the Hammer splitting the Mercedes there at the front of the grid, followed by Bogdan Milan. We've got Shenge there as well, and Zola in 7th position.
Yep, going to be an interesting one for sure. Would love to know what the weather is for the race, but it'll be a bit of a surprise element for us. Once we load in, we'll get an idea. I don't mind the interchangeable conditions. I like a bit of dry and wet, but I don't like full wet races. But this track in particular, I mean, especially corners like Cops Corner on the dry, you can do that quite easily flat out, but wet conditions, you definitely cannot go flat out for there, as we found out
definitely not
during the week.
Yeah, it's a tricky track this at the best of times, just trying to hook up every apex and every corner. There's so many areas where you can actually lose tiny amounts of time in there, and consequently also so many areas where you can actually gain small amounts, which of course all adds up. But yeah, in the rain, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and I'm just picking up there as well. We've got two runners who set medium laps, and look at that. I mean, 24.2 on a medium. That is pretty crazy. So these guys, we're going to keep an eye on these guys in the midfield, P5 and P6. If they can get off to a relatively decent start and hang in with these front pack, they are looking good for the race win potentially. But I know Der Hammer, he's a championship leader at this point. He has got quite a gap to P2. But you're seeing a lot of these new drivers come through. There's been a lot of changes to the driver roster recently in Tier 2, and I think some of these guys are a bit of an unknown quantity, but I reckon some of them are going to be pretty high level and give Hammer a run for his money. And we're loaded into the session. I'm looking at the sky boosted. It's blue skies up there.
Yeah, it's looking okay. It's not sunny, that's for sure. But yeah, but it does look clear so far. So we're maybe going to be in for a bit of a cloudy race today. Part of me is wondering about the two drivers that are on the medium tyres. Is that strategic because of the weather? I.e., is it possible that we may be in for a shower at the end of the race?
True. Yeah, so Silverstone, typically in dry conditions, it's fairly easy soft medium. But if you could start on the mediums and go to the softs, that it would be much preferred. Just loading up here.
Guess we're about to find out.
Yeah. I'm looking up chat
Crystal's
here.
leads us way now.
Sorry, I'm just looking at chat on the stream. It is absolutely empty. There's no one chatting in our stream chat here. Wondering what's going on. Why is everybody so quiet? Tell us who your race winner prediction is for this one. How many DNFs do you think for this one? Do you think it's going to be rain? What's strat? Come on, let's get this party started.
As Crystal sets us off underway on the one of arguably the hardest laps of the race, the formation lap. Let's see if everybody can make it through without any DSQs.
Oh, there's another, just picking up there, XP made it into the top 10, and he is on mediums, so he is in a good spot here. XP, he's actually, I would rate him as a pretty good driver, but he has a lot of incidents in league races, so hopefully his bad luck runs out today and he can finish well.
I'm just looking at further outside the top 10. For some reason I had it in my head that the two guys on mediums were starting next to one another, so I'm wondering if there's been a penalty, a 5-position grid penalty applied somewhere, maybe for a block or something.
Yes,
Because I think that's XTXP that's dropped out of the, well, to the bottom of the top 10 there. I'm sure he was starting somewhere near the top.
Yeah, I think you're right, yep. So that is another factor to take into account. I'm saying as well, that Bance actually is in this session now, so he wasn't able to qualify, but he has got a car on track, so P18 will be his starting position on mediums. And this guy at the very back, Milan, I suspect that he is a very fast guy. I don't know why, I just have it in my head. He might be doing a last to first challenge. I'm seeing chat here saying Milan WTF, welcome to Finland. Well changing it. Well changing it to change. I don't know what that means, but yeah, here we go. The drivers are taking up their grid slots, and Milan is the last driver to do so, just pulling up now, so we'll get to the start of this race. Should be a good one.
Yeah, looking forward to this. A lot of guys outside the top 10 also starting on the medium tyres there. It's actually quite a mix of strategy here, which does make me wonder if we are going to see a little bit of moisture in the air today. But the lights are coming on now. We get ready to head off, and away we go. Crystal's leading us off the start-finish line there then. It looks like he's had a very clean start, actually. Both guys having a clean start. Hammer's already on the inside of him, though, coming into the first corner. He's made the pass already. It looks like the other Mercedes getting involved there as well. That would be John X is coming down. They're side by side now into the next corner, as we see a Haas running very wide there into the third corner now. Just coming around onto this first of the DRS straights. Of course, no DRS yet. The Mercedes really going at it here, though, side by side all the way down. We've got a spin at the very back there from one of the McLarens. I think that's Skin Tony's had a bit of an incident. These Mercedes are still going at it. My goodness.
Yeah, no team
side
orders.
By side again.
No team orders in
not.
Mercedes today. And XTXP also got caught up in an incident, dropped a few positions there, but as he's in P13 hanging on, so still part of this long train. And this is a feature of Silverstone, these DRS trains. So really these first two laps is about trying to build up a gap to the guy behind and break that DRS range. And Durhammer is getting the hammer down. He's almost a second ahead of X Crystal, so he's benefiting massively from the Mercedes fighting each other.
Yeah, this is an actual absolutely crucial part of the race now, where you want to try and break DRS if you're in the hammer situation to X Crystals from behind there. Of course, it all depends on how well John X is going to be able to hang on to the back of him there, because if he's going to continue to put pressure on Crystals, that's going to force him to defend. Of course, that's going to play into Hammer's side of the strategy very well there.
Oh yeah, and we've got Bance actually into the pits, so he must have front wing damage, I'm thinking. Saw a lot of squabbling at the back, but yeah, he's the only driver there of the lead lap into the pits. And
yeah, that's unfortunate for him as well, having started on mediums as well, so that's gonna ruin his reverse strategy for today.
It's saying on my screen it's lap 3 at 26 and DRS is enabled, but I'm pretty sure this is only the second lap, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Codemasters was supposed to fix this in a recent patch I read somewhere, so I'm very disappointed that that's not happened. Same with the timing tree going crazy there, or timing tires are going crazy there every time someone crosses the first couple of laps on the line there. But yeah, that's this was supposed to be fixed, Codemasters. What the hell? Yeah, things should start to calm down after the actual third lap. So yeah, as Chief says, we are actually on lap 2 currently. Hammer is leading us currently, making his way around this lovely series of bends here onto the Wellington straight now. It looks like he's maintaining a 0.8 gap to Crystals, who's just behind him there. A gap also forming between the two Mercedes, so that squabble seems to have calmed down now. They seem to have been able to agree on a position. We'll see how this fight continues. The Hammer now coming around the final corner of the lap and across the start-finish straight. Sets a purple lap time as well, so he is really pushing. That gap to Crystals is slowly increasing. Starting to spread out a little bit here now. We do have a bit of a split between, I think that's XTXP and Tipsy Bob, so there is a bit of a gap forming there now. It's probably a combination of damage and pitting and whatnot. I'm just looking. Tipsy Bob does have front wing damage.
Oh no.
So he is missing his left end plate. That would explain the slight hold up there now. He's obviously defending very well. The guys behind him unable to pass him.
Yeah, it's terrible for him because he's on these mediums, and really you want to go long stint on these mediums, and the front wing damage is going to cost him big time. So not going the way of Tipsy Bob today.
Well, he'll be wanting to try and eke that stint out, I think, as long as possible now. It's obviously not hurting him enough to feel like he needs to pit if he's staying out there, but yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that and see how he gets on.
Yeah, and look at this, we're on lap 3, so DRS is enabled, and crucially, X Crystals has got that, or sorry, Hammer has got that gap to 1.2 to X Crystals, so he is just kind of stretching his legs out front there, and I'm seeing a pass at the back. Milan getting past Hawkeye, and it looks like Milan for me is disconnected, so yeah, not sure what's happening.
Yeah, there's
there.
a bit of ghosting going on back there. I think yeah, somebody was ghosted. There's a Red Bull ghosted there as well. I think that's Hawkeye and Milan both ghosted. So
Tipsy Bob is into the pits. He got a penalty, first penalty of this race. Elster, free second time penalty. But yeah, Tipsy Bob, I think he was struggling too much there. He felt like it's not going to do him any favors staying out on this set of tires with the front wing damage.
So I wonder if he's going to switch onto a fresh set of. Oh, he's switching onto softs. Okay. Mind you, if he started the race on mediums, then yeah, that would make sense. That's really going to hurt him then, actually. It is possible to go from about now to the end of the race on mediums. I know Kebab managed that just about in the Tier 4 race. He ended the race with, well, within puncture range, I think on the last lap or so. So it is possible, but yeah, unfortunately for Tipsy Bob, he's on the wrong tyre. There's a red Racing Point, sorry. That's XTXP, looks like he's spun out.
Oh no.
Just coming into the hairpin there. It doesn't look like there's any damage to the car at all, so he gets underway again, but yeah, that's really hurt his chances today.
Yeah, down to P16 unfortunately for him, but he's still in the race. I mean, he's not too far off this lead pack at the moment. But I'm seeing that there's a bit of a battle going on here. It's
oh, the Mercedes are on each other again.
Ooh.
Sorry to cut you off there. There's two Mercedes once again getting very close. John X using the DRS to his advantage at its fullest there. Putting a lot of pressure on Crystals right now. Of course, all of this is just playing into De Hammer's hands perfectly. He's just set a purple sector 3 as he crosses the line again.
Yeah, John X lost the back end there, just coming out of onto the final corner, so that give X Crystals a bit of breathing space. But yeah, I mean, it's really this DRS is gonna it's gonna be pushing X Crystals, putting a lot of pressure on him, as he will not have that DRS, whereas everybody behind him, 5 cars behind him, have DRS. And John X is looking like he's going to line him up now. So yeah, he looks like he's going to go for a move down the inside. X Crystal not fighting it too hard, leaving plenty of space for his teammate. Bit of contact there, but John X getting the move done. So I think that's probably smart from X Crystals. This phase of the race, it seems like his teammate is faster. So probably.
Oh, and there's an AlphaTauri there. I think's gone around.
Oh, it's Elster.
I think that's Elster. Yeah, he's had a spin just coming into that corner.
Yeah, he seems to be struggling on this track. He already has a time penalty to his name.
Crystals is immediately back on the attack again on the back of John X there. So coming onto the Wellington straight in just a second, he's going to have DRS again. I wonder if we're going to see another change of position.
X Crystals going for the inside, and this is it's a tricky corner to go too wide in. The slightest contact can send a car flying, but yeah, X Crystal's getting by there without too much issue. But look behind John X as well. There is a train forming here, so X Crystals has his work cut out. He's a lot of pressure.
You've got Bogdan getting involved in there now. Shenge? I have no idea, I'm butchering the name of that completely, but yeah, and Zola's getting involved in it as well. All of them are within 1 second of one another too, so
yeah, and
yeah,
for Chen as well, I mean, he's on these medium tires, so he's doing really well to hang in with these soft runners. He's gonna be absolutely rapid in that final stint, so P5 currently, and he's looking
going
for
a pass.
Yep, he is indeed. He's going to go down the inside. Bit of contact once again, nothing too much. Is he going to be able to hang around the outside? Bogdan has the inside line, and that's much preferred here. But on the run out, the outside line might be crucial. Yeah, more contact. And they're heading down to Cop's corner, too wide. This is a game of chicken right now. Who's going to back out? I think Bogdan is going to. No, he doesn't. He sends it down the inside. And he fought that move well there. Both drivers come through relatively unscathed. Chen in P5 still.
And Zola looking like he wants to get involved in the action now as well. He's managed to close the gap to Chen quite quickly there as they were busy fighting. Looks like just as I say that, he has a bit of a wiggle there, which has slowed him down again. But yeah, it's all go at the front here. It's quite a lively front pack of the grid here. Meanwhile, the Hammer is now up to 2.8 seconds.
And we
up
have
into
guys,
the lead.
with guys pitting, so we're the guys going for the undercut. It would be X Crystals and Bogdan both going for that undercut. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and that releases Chen onto the back of John X. So these softs are gonna. This is a crossover point. We're gonna see these softs start to fall off slowly, and these mediums are just gonna come in into their, you know, their main phase. And I think
Yes.
they're gonna become faster than the softs now.
So long as Chen can just hang on to the back of John here with the medium tyres, he'll be in a really, really good position, as you say, when it comes to switching tyres back over again later on in the race. Of course, he's been dragged right up to the very front of the grid just with DRS, so he's doing a fantastic job of hanging in there with those tyres.
Yeah, and for these guys that did pit X Crystal and Bogdan, the X Crystals at least has come out in free air, as far as I can tell anyway. Although I do see Milan in front of him. I don't know if he's shown as P14 in your screen. But
yeah, Crystal's just making his way past there. Milan ghosted for whatever reason. I'm not sure what's going on there, but yeah. Oh, and we see a 3-second time penalty for Grenade Goran there. So yeah, time penalties should, well, actually have been fairly clear so far, to be fair. I mean, in previous tiers we've been seeing quite a few penalties rolling in. It's an easy track to run wide on and also to cut corners on. So yeah, the guy's actually keeping it very clean here. As I immediately curse Alster, who picks up a penalty.
yeah, John X in the pits as well. Epic, so we're seeing a lot of these soft runners starting to come in. Hammer stays out.
Just seeing Chen just putting in a fastest lap of the race so far on those 7-lap old mediums.
Yeah,
so we can expect that gap to Hammer to start to decrease, I would imagine.
And crucially, I want to see where John X comes out in comparison to X Crystals, who's making his way through the final sector now. The pits here are quite long, for around about 30 seconds. So is this undercut going to put X Crystals ahead of John X? I think it will, but John X coming out of the pit lane now, still a fair way to go. And yes, he does indeed come out just ahead, I believe, of John X. Yeah. Or sorry, X Crystal, yeah, he's just ahead of John X coming out of the pits there. Bogdan as well. So that undercut wasn't massive, but X Crystals maintains that lead over John X and Bogdan.
Yeah, and all three of them, of course, bunched back up where they were at the start of the race. So the fight continues. So we'll see who the victor out of that trio will be.
And I think this lap, we're going to see Hammer come into the pits, I reckon. He doesn't want to stay out too long on these softs, as they do trouble off pretty fast. So he pulls into the pits. Yeah. Chen will take over the lead of this race. So.
Oh, and that's a speeding penalty for Zola Zola coming into the pit entrance there. They're always horrible penalties to get because they're so avoidable. So yeah, he'll be kicking himself for that.
Yeah, it's a real bad gut feeling whenever you get that. You know, it's your own fault as well. You're just kicking yourself as you pull into the pits.
That's it.
But let's see, Hammer is making his way out of the pits now. He's just at the pit exit speed limit sign, and gets up to speed as he comes out. You don't want to put the power down too early. You kind of lose it quite easily on these cold tires in sector 1. And he comes out quite ahead of X Crystals, so that undercut of X Crystals wasn't too powerful in this case.
Yeah, of course he's got XTXP breathing down his neck now, coming down this DRS straight. But yeah, as you say, the Mercedes actually not that far back. It looks like the gap is actually closer than it was prior to the pit stop. So I wonder if the Hammer maybe stayed out one lap too long there. But he's on the mediums now, and he's got the fresh tyres. So let's see how far up he can get.
Yeah, he definitely has the upper hand in this. And also, you know, what's been crucial for Der Hammer and X Crystals is the lack of traffic that they've had to make their way through. Der Hammer has 14 seconds ahead of him here, so he's came out in a really nice pocket of air and could just get the hair down. He's throwing the car through Magus Beckes here and onto the hangar straight. So Der Hammer, after this win, but he knows he's got a threat, and it's P1 driver Chen. Depending on when he's going to pit, I reckon he'll pit around about lap 14, 15, maybe 16. He wants to get the maximum out of that soft stint at the end. As we see Grenade Goran in the pits.
Way back out in a fresh set of mediums and rejoins the race. Slot in behind the Mercedes and the Williams boys, I think. Quite nice little four-way fight that we've got going on here now between the two Mercs and the two Williams. They're bunching each other up again quite a bit. XTXP is slowly falling back towards that group as well, so he's going to come under pressure soon. Again, this is all just playing into Hammer's hands beautifully. He's able just to focus on getting some quali laps in, just pushing and getting as much distance between himself and the Mercs as possible.
Yeah, the Mercs are fighting again, so this is going to cost them, I think, and over the course of this race. But John X getting past X Crystals, and these guys, I don't think they're in voice chat together. I think there's no team orders in this team, and I think that might cost them overall. They'd be smarter kind of working together, as Epic is retired in the pits.
I wonder if that's possible connection issues. He's saying in chat there that he hates this game. I don't think it's so much that, it's probably the way it's coded, but yeah, we all hate the bugs and whatnot that are in here, but it looks like he's falling foul to something there, possibly technical.
John X now has XT just ahead of him. Will want to get past him as soon as possible, as they're on different strategies, but I know myself, XTXP is not one to move over easily, so you may well be behind him for a bit longer here through Sector 1. John X actually setting the fastest lap time despite being behind XTXP here, and we'll probably get past him here in this DRS straight, the short DRS straight heading into Lovefield hairpin.
I don't think XTXP will be able to hang on to this position for too much longer coming down here, although as you say, he does drive one of the widest F1 cars I've ever seen when I've been racing on track with him. But yeah, both Mercs making their way through there, although it looks like it's going to be difficult for Crystals. Oh, and they touch!
Oh, and XP,
oh,
yeah,
no.
he gets turned around. And this is what I'm saying, this guy has, oh, is that a reset the track I saw? Please no. Please no.
I missed that. I couldn't confirm, I'm afraid, but yeah, they did look a bit sketchy. Yeah, it looked like I think Crystals had was just ahead of him there on the outside line, and yeah, XTXP's front left made contact with Crystals' right rear there, so no damage between either of the cars, but unfortunately spinning XTXP round there, and collecting Bogdan on his way around as well.
Oh no, oh no.
But, so Bogdan now has more than a 1 second gap. They need to try and make back up to Zola to get back into that four-way battle for 6th at the minute. Of course, it's 6 on track. That would be 2nd position once all the pits are cleared.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the interval to the leader gaps. Durhammer is 24 seconds behind P1 Chen. So the pit lane we were saying is 30 seconds roughly. So if you take that, so it's going to be Hammer will be 7 seconds ahead of Chen going by that, and then he'll be on the soft tires. So he'll be able to catch up that time in, yeah, pretty rapidly I would say. So we'll keep an eye on that gap because it will probably come down as Hammer is on these fresher mediums. But when does Chen pit? That's going to be the crucial question here.
Yep, I think we're in for quite a sprint to the finish line here. It's going to be quite a gripping end to the race. The band's picking up a 3-second time penalty now as well. It'll be for corner cutting or track limit somewhere, I assume. It's a wonderful camera shot watching these guys coming through the Magus and Beckett complex, isn't it?
I was just thinking that, yeah. And I'm just watching John X here. It looked like X Crystals was pretty close behind him, but John X getting a really good run onto Hanger Straight, and that's crucial to hold off the attack from behind. So he's doing everything he can just to hold on to this P6 position for now. Could effectively be P2 on track once the pit stops are out of the way.
I think the inter-team fighting here is probably hurting both of them in it, and I see a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3. It looks like it's an Alpha Tauri. Is that Elster again? Yeah, so he's had a bit of a moment there.
Tipsy Bob up to P13, so he's benefited from that. I don't know if he was involved in that incident, but he's through relatively unscathed, but he is on these soft tires, so he's really banking on a safety car at this point because he has to pit again, probably for a soft. Danico is saying Milan in Tier 2, so yeah, I think Milan is a very fast guy, but not doing too well in this one. Unfortunately, he's back in P17.
Yeah, I spent quite a lot of the start of the race ghosted for whatever reason, so I don't. Yeah, and he's still ghosted now as well, so I don't know if that's maybe a bit of desync or what. Not sure what's going on there as we see Alistair retiring from the race now. We've lost 2 drivers out of the 19 that have started. Leaves us with another 17 who are currently still running. This battle for second position is getting tighter and tighter. I think Bogdan is just about back within that 1 second gap there, so he's going to be able to get back involved again now. See Crystal's really closing that gap to the back of John X again here as they come around the final small complex here and onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, dirty error is a big factor here, so X-Crystal's having to manage that dirty error, but is also getting a bit of slipstream, so he's doing very well to hang on to the back of John X. I wonder if he's content to do this and then try and get him towards the end of the race. We know X-Crystals is a very fast guy. He has been, maybe he does have a tendency to get himself into bother with a few spins here and there, but so far so good for X-Crystals.
Absolutely, if he can just keep this consistent pace, then he's looking very, very good for quite a haul of points in this race today. Both Mercedes now coming under pressure from the Williams boys, who've managed to close that gap even further. All the while, the Hammer's stretching his lead out some more. The gap now from Hammer to John X is 5.7. Well, he's looking really good at the minute. It's all just a question, as you say. Oh, and we see Chen's pitting. Chen's coming to the pits.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, he really wants to maximize the soft run, so I think this is a good call from him.
Feels early somehow.
Yeah, well, it's fresh soft, so I think that, you know, they're probably going to be okay to go 10 laps, I reckon.
It's a bit of a risk, I think. I suspect he's going to be risking puncture range by the end of this. I may be wrong. But yeah, we will see as Hammer now crosses the start-finish line. He's making his way down the straight, and he does indeed get past Chen. So, yeah, but I think, you know what, actually, Chen, I think, is going to slot himself into provisional second here. He has done.
And I wonder if that's why he pitted early as well. Maybe he's got a crew chief just working out the gaps, and yeah, that's exactly where he wants to be. He doesn't want to be caught up in that Mercedes battle behind. And he's on his soft now, so he can just stretch his legs. He's only 3.9 behind Hammer, so...
that's a huge jump he's managed to make there, then. That's crazy.
Yeah.
See Crystal's once again having a fight with John X, and they're pushing each other wide, which has allowed Zola to get past the pair of them on the inside. Both Mercedes are still side by side coming down the old start-finish straight now.
Yeah, and they're barging each other off track, so a bit of RG here. Oh, and he gets pushed off. X-Crystal's actually pushing his teammate off track there, so that is not good. I wonder if there's a bit of...
side by side again, coming down.
This can't end well. Yeah, no! X-Crystals is off, he's into the wall, and somehow survives that crash. But that's his race over. Essentially, he picked up a 3-second time penalty as well just before that all kicked off. But yeah, those guys, I think there's going to be some bad words said in the Mercedes garage after this race. That wasn't very nice driving.
Yeah, that was completely unnecessary as well. It's just ruined both of their races, unfortunately, there.
But it benefited Zola. He was opportunistic there, got ahead of John X and all that kerfuffle, and we were seeing more people pitting off the mediums. It's Furious and Hyper onto the sauce. X-Crystals is DNF, so he's decided to call it a day. And where did he actually... Oh, he's in the pits. He's retired in the pits. So that is sad to see, but yeah.
I think there'll be some frustration there between the pair of them. Understandable as well. It looked very heated and, yeah, unnecessarily bumpy, I would say.
Yeah, I think I was building up.
Really don't want to be doing that. Yeah. So that leaves John on his own now to try and fend off the two Williams boys there who are currently sandwiching him. He'll be able to pull the Mercedes team further up.
Just having to look back from a Hammer. He's got a view of Chen in his mirrors. It'll be a small car in his mirrors, but it's increasingly getting bigger as these soft...
that time is dropping. Look how quick it's dropping.
Yeah, those soft tires are just going to feel like he's on railroad tracks at the minute, whereas Hammer, he's on these older mediums. Still will be in good form, but yeah, it's not comparable at all to these soft tires. And look at that, how much he closed up in that. Those last two corners alone, almost within DRS range here. So Hammer is under a lot of pressure, and yeah, I think Chen was doing a push lap there. He's put a 26.3 on the board as the map lights up purple. So how long can Hammer hold off the charge of Chen from behind?
I think that was a strategic push lap there, because that's just put him nicely into that DRS range of Hammer now. So the gap's going to drop to half a second by the end of this DRS straight, I'm sure. I don't think he'll get the pass done at this point, but yeah, they're going to be incredibly close after this next hairpin. He sets a purple sector 1 as well, just as I say that, so he's still on a charge.
Oh, John X is getting past Zola, so Mercedes ahead of the Williams boys once again. Seems like John X just has that little bit extra in the tank here today. But yeah, Chen and Hammer, the battle continues. I mean, really, I think Hammer knows his only chance is if Chen can get past him here. It can be quite hard to get past that car ahead, especially if they have DRS, but Dear Hammer does not have DRS, and he's using a bit of overtake here to try and fight this move. Let's see, is Chen going to send it up the inside? No, he's too far back for now, but I think it's only a matter of time before he does send it, as Eddie is in the pits, so Dear Hammer takes back the control of the lead of the race.
I think we might see a bit of side-by-side on the start-finish straight here, possibly. No, Chen deciding to just bide his time until the DRS straight. Sensible decision-making there, keep it clean. No point risking anything just yet. We see a yellow flag in Sector 3, that's XTXP has parked it in the wall there somehow.
Oh, he's out, yeah, that's him out.
And we've got a VSC.
And that will buy Hammer some time. He was looking like he was going to get overtaken there, but this will do him well. And if he can get a good VSC restart, and Chen doesn't get a good enough one, he could maybe buy himself a bit more time as well.
That's come at the right time for him. They were just on that DRS straight where I suspected that Chen would have gone for a move. He was certainly well within striking distance at that point, so yeah, that VSC coming out just at the right time for Hammer. The trick now is to keep watching that delta. It's so easy to pick up unnecessary drive-through penalties for speeding under VSC. All it takes is too quick an approach into a corner just as the VSC ends, and then your delta flashes red for that split second, and that's you.
Yeah, VSC is over. Looks like no drive-through penalties, so everybody getting off to a reasonably good start. But yeah, Chen 0.2 behind Hammer here. Heading into the final sector, no real overtaking spots here in the final section of this race, or of this lap, sorry. But he will be lining himself up for these DRS straights, the short DRS straight at the start of sector 2, and then of course Hangar Straight is the prime overtaking spot. But really, I think Chen wants to get this move done quickly because he wants to build up a bit of a lead before the soft tires start to drop off.
Yeah, he knows that those when those tires start to fail, that the advantage swings back into Hammer's direction again. Then, as they come down this DRS straight now, he is on the inside, decides better of it. There's a bit of a lockup coming up there from one of them. I'm not sure who that was. I think that's Chen that's occasionally locking up the front wheels. That won't be helping his situation out very much just now. He slots back in behind Hammer now across the...
Oh, and he's going to go for a move on the outside, yeah, so it looks like Hammer caught sleeping a little bit there, as Chen using all his overtake to great effect, getting past Hammer, so Hammer really wants to just get the head down. Actually, this works out nicely for Hammer. He gets a wee bit of DRS on the Hangar Straight. He's not likely to get another move done on Chen, but at least he'll be able to hold on to him for the meantime.
He'll have to try and do what Chen was doing at the very start of the race then, try and hang in there with the DRS on those medium tyres and just hope that he eats up those soft tyres before the end of the race. There's Formula Chris saying there in the chat, Hammer DRS comeback. Yep, that's that's what he'll be hoping for.
And Chen, another fast lap.
Yeah, just
Nice.
for good measure there.
26.2, so he is putting the hammer down. Sorry to take away your pun there, Hammer, but Chen is the MC Hammer of the moment.
Ghosting there from the other Red Bull further back there, which I'm a bit confused about, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Watching the battle for third position is still raging. Currently, John X has that lead. The two Williams boys are both just behind him. In fact, the two Williams boys looked like they might have been going side by side for a second there, but thinking better of it. A few times where I thought these guys might go toe-to-toe with one another, but I think they'll have seen the action with the Mercedes boys and hopefully be keeping that in mind not to replicate that.
Yeah, it can be frustrating because you can be stuck in these DRS trains, and even if you have a wee bit of an edge on pace over the guy ahead, if the guy ahead's got DRS as well, yeah, it's not going to be easy to get the move done, as John X getting a really good run on the hanger straight, so holding off the threat for now, but I think Zola might be considering a move on his teammate here. No, too far back for now. But really, I think in these kind of like situations, you need to be smart with your DRS management, ERS management. And I see that Zola has 80%, so he's saving up his ERS for a rainy day, and with 5 laps left, he's running out of time to use it. Maybe he's thinking for a last lap or a penultimate lap charge on his teammate, get that move done.
Meanwhile, Hammer is doing a fantastic job of staying within the DRS range of Chen as well, so we might just see a situation where those soft tyres start to fall off, or start to get enough wear on them that Hammer maybe feels like he's a bit pacier and able to get back at him again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is crucial for the victory. If he's going to win this race, he needs to stay within that DRS range and not let Chen start stretching his legs out front. And right now he is doing a fine job of it. His ERS is getting a bit low, but he's within the DRS range, so he can afford to save some of it. But yeah, he can't fall too far back here. If he gets out of that DRS range, it might
Oh, and there's a yellow flag in sector 2, that's Zola.
Oh, Zola's round, so he's one off a cop's corner, it looks like, yeah.
That's damage as well. I think he's missing an end plate. In fact, he's missing quite a hell of a lot of the front wing there, so...
Oh no.
That's horrible for him. I don't think it's worth continuing either with, well, I say continuing, not worth pushing on with only 4 laps remaining, so he's going to have to pit to change that, I think, and jump onto softs.
Yeah, it was looking so well for him. He was running pretty high up there, but now it drops down to P9, and as you say, probably will have to pit, get that front wing damage replaced.
So that just leaves the sole remaining Mercedes to fend off the sole remaining Williams, as John versus Bogdan there for third position. The Hammer closing that gap once again. It did stretch out to 0.8 seconds as they're coming down the Wellington straight, and coming down this first DRS straight of the track. He's managed to close it back down to 0.6 again, so he's just about hanging into the tail end of a 1 second gap there.
Yeah, Chen's tire, 6 lap old, so I think after this lap, that's really when we're going to notice this drop off, and we may well see Hammer then be able to close up again and maybe get this move done, because there's still, what is it, 4 laps left in this race, so still quite a long way to go, considering it's on these 6 lap old softs.
Chen is having to squeeze that ERS button coming down these straights to try and defend against the DRS there, and it's forcing him to go very deep into his battery usage, so he's hovering around the 11 and 12% mark for the vast majority of the lap, whilst Hammer's able to maintain more of a 25 to 30% ERS charge. So yeah, could we see another move happening here at some point?
Yeah, I think Hammer, one of his biggest attributes is his consistency. You know, with regard, he's got great pace, we all know that, but consistency really is key. And I think that's reflected in the championship standings. He just is consistent, and he's not someone you want to see in your rearview mirrors for this exact reason. He will not give up. He will not lose pace. He won't make silly mistakes usually. And we're seeing this here as he is doing all the right things. It looks like he may well be on for a race win today. I just cursed him, didn't I? Damn it.
Quick ticket back.
I'm just thinking he's just going to go sideways right now and into the wall.
Everybody forget we said that.
There is a move at the back as well. Looks at Hawkeye and Milan, but yeah, Milan's still showing as disconnected, so I don't know what the crack is there. Hawkeye's having a bit of a tough time with that AI, if it is AI.
Hammer once again has the DRS on Chen. Now as we come down the Wellington Straight, that gap begins to close again.
Yeah, sorry.
Again, Chen is... sorry, going to go?
I was just going to say, Hyper had an issue there. Just joined on board. He's got 30 tires, lost 2 positions down to P8, so he's had some kind of issue on that lap, and it's cost him a few positions on track.
Yeah, I was going to say, Der Hammer consistently seems to have almost double the ERS that Chen has at any one point on the track. That DRS is working out very well for him indeed. We've got 2 laps to go now as well, so I think he just needs to keep biding his time and hope to go for a last-minute dive on the final lap. Would probably be the safest way to do this.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wins this race, fair play to them. They're going to earn it because Chen has his work cut out with these old softs. And Der Hammer in P2, he's going to have to get a move done on Chen for the race win. So it's all to play for as we head into the last 2 laps of this race. And I see Nico Velman's saying Bance, no. I think Bance is just out for a Sunday drive today. Maybe he's doing a bit of practice for the Tier 1 race, which will be happening later on tonight. And just having a bit of fun out there. And P15.
While we're looking at the whilst we're looking at the chat there, I was going to say let's not read out Formula Chris's comment there. Let's try and keep the cursing to a minimum. We've already cursed one driver. Let's not curse the other. So we'll see how this goes. But this is shaping up to be quite the fight for the victory here.
Yeah, I would say more lockups from Chen as well. So that's not going to be good for his tire wear.
Well, the fight for P3 is getting very spicy there as well, as Bogdan manages to significantly close down the gap on John X at the end of the Wellington Straight. So if he can hang close enough here, he's looking very good for the next DRS straight. Of course, John X has no DRS to gain from anyone in front of him.
Yeah, he does have 1 lap younger tires than Bogdan, but at this phase of the race it probably doesn't hold much weight as Bogdan is almost pushing him through the corners here in Sector 1. Skin Tony 3-second time penalty, so P10, that's not going to help him very much as Bogdan looks like he might be going for a move. John X guarding that inside line, he knows that's crucial. Not letting Bogdan get this move done too easily.
Incredibly close racing here. He will get another chance if he's able to stick close enough through the next sweeping section of corners before the Wellington Straight. You see another attempt there as Hammer's getting dangerously close to that 1 second gap. Just as I say, that does start to close down a little bit, so he may have had a bit of a dodgy exit out the final sequence of corners there. Running a little bit wide. So I'm just sitting on board with him here, so I think he's lucky to get away with that without a penalty. Just see if he can hang in there now.
Yeah, he almost lost.
Cross the line.
He almost lost that DRS range as well. He was just outside of the 1 second, you know, as they're heading into Magus Beckus, but just crucially got the DRS back, and that's allowed him close up massively here. But we are on the last lap of the race, so let's see what he can do. He's going to have to get a move on this lap. But Chen is looking pretty feisty on these soft tires.
I think he's going to have to just try and hang in there and sit underneath his gearbox until the Wellington Straight. I think that's probably his best opportunity to make a clean pass, or a decisive pass that he can then defend from for the final few corners of the track.
Yeah, but just looking back as well, Bogdan tried to move there on John X into Sector 1, but John X is making his car as wide as possible. We might see another move attempt here. Yes, he does. He sends it down the inside. But John X is going to have the inside for the next corner in Love Field, and that's going to be crucial. John X running out quite wide there. Is he going to cut him off? He doesn't, but he gets a really good exit from the corner and it allows him to keep the position. But let's join Der Hammer as they go into the start-finish straight. I think Chen got a wheel in the dirt there just briefly, and that's not going to help him. But I think he's got enough of a gap here As we see, Chen's DRS derating there, so he's out of DRS completely, but I think he's done enough to seal the win for this race. As they head down to the final corners, no real overtaking opportunity here unless Chen makes a mistake. And Hammer giving it everything, but it's just not enough. Chen taking the win of this race. Hammer P2, and Bogdan does indeed get past John X on the hanger straight. Bogdan leading into sector 3 for these final corners. And unless he makes a mistake here, actually I'm just looking at, he does have a time penalty, so all this fighting and for position has not really paid off. On track P3, but John X taking that P3 position, final podium. And Bogdan P4, Grenade Gorn, didn't really speak much of him during the race, but P5, Eddie as well, P6, I Am Furious, Hyper, Fropsy and Skin Tony then making up the rest of the top 10, although Fropsy's still to cross the line here. Yep, and last guy on track then for the points position is Skin Tony. Look how far back he is as well, 30 seconds back from P9, so some of these drivers having a pretty troubled race today.
Some very close racing there as my game crashes out. Thankfully it didn't crash out a couple minutes earlier, so that suits me just fine. But yeah, that's some incredibly close racing today.
Skin Tony, yep, across the line. P10 then, and Zulu after that incident comes across the line. P11 unfortunately for him, no points for him today. Tipsy Bob as well. On the lead lap, but not able to get a points paying position after that initial incident with the front wing damage. Really, what you get from wing damage to this race, if you don't get a safety car, it's pretty much game over. It can be a long and lonely race.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's yeah, a tricky one, but yeah, fantastic fighting from the first and second position there, and also from third and fourth as well. So it was great to see some fighting all the way up and down the field, to be fair. Quite a few close pockets of DRS trains keeping things interesting. But yeah, a worthy win for Chen there, who came from quite a way back, and on that reverse strategy as well, made it work for him beautifully.
Yeah, started P5, ended P1. I'm looking at driver of the day contenders though. Seeing Eddie's made up many positions at 6 positions, whereas I'm Furious from P17 to P7, so 10 positions. Although he does have 6 seconds penalty to his name. So I just have a look at all the finishing times. Who do you think for driver of the day then?
It's quite tough, isn't it? I mean, I want to give it to Chen, but as I understand, he's one of the top tier drivers anyway, so you would kind of expect him to be up in that kind of position. I was really impressed with how Hammer was actually able to hang on to him once he'd passed, and just kind of hang in there till the very end on what would have been some pretty worn out mediums. Yeah, it's tricky one. Eddie, as you say, managing to get up from 12th position there, does pick up a few penalty points along the way, but yeah, I feel like Hammer's probably done it for me. Just really impressive how solid he was able to command the start of that race, and then, as I say, conceding that position to Chen later on, and all the same managing to just hang in there and follow him to the very end of the race. Didn't give Chen any chance to relax at all, and pushed it all the way to the finish.
Yeah, I'll go with that as well then. Yeah, Hammer, driver of the day, pretty solid performance. Not able to pick up the win, but a valiant effort nonetheless. And I see Bance in chat is saying I was barely faster than the disconnected AI of Hawk. I don't know what to say to
there's
that.
a few strange connection issues up and down the grid there that we saw at the back. Of Milan, for example, was expecting him to be slightly further up. I think he must have been having some sort of technical problems as well today. Yeah, it's just one of those things, unfortunately. You kind of just have to go with it.
Yeah, so we head into the interview section of the race, and we've got Hammer in the general chat there, so we'll bring him in and have a word with our driver of the day. Hammer, the win it was right there in front of you, but it just was not attainable. I'm sure you were hoping that those soft tires of Chen would drop off pretty dramatically, but it seemed like
Yep.
he took good care of them and he just had enough in the tank then to keep that lead over you. So, like, what was your strategy in that final phase of the race then when you realized you had to get past Chen for that win?
Well, he of course first had to get past me, but I could only hold him for like 2 laps, and then I knew that before, so I had saved all my ERS and everything. I was like, okay, just don't drop out of DRS, and maybe if he has tire problems the last 2 laps, there's a chance. But basically, yeah, he kept an insane pace until the end, and I don't think I've ever driven so fast with medium tires at the end of Silverstone. But it was just because of the DRS of Chen, because yeah, it wasn't possible to do anything. I was holding on for dear life. And yeah, I was hoping that these tires would drop off, but to be honest, they really didn't.
And are
Yeah.
you aware of this? I mean, that guy, I heard, I think I've seen the name about before, but I wasn't aware of his pace on track. So obviously he's a very, very fast guy. I mean, were you aware of how fast he was heading into this race?
Yeah, because last week was Austria. We had it in the break week because of Bahrain race interfering the week before, and he won that by 15 seconds. And you know how Austria has a short track and it's hard
Yeah.
to get out of DRS. So I knew already, like I'm probably gonna finish second or third behind him and maybe Milan if they participate. But yeah, I tried something to do something against him today, and it almost worked. But yeah, he's still too fast at the end of the day. So yeah.
What was the warning situation like for you towards the end there? Did you pick up any warnings at all? There's a
Um,
moment I was watching, it looked like you kind of ran a little bit wide just as you were trying to
yeah,
hang on to the back of the DRS there at the
I
end of the race.
I had one warning in the beginning, and then my second when he like 1 or 2 laps after he overtook me because he was pushing really hard to push me out of DRS, and that's when I went wide the second time. So I had 2 warnings. I'm pretty sure he had 2 warnings, or at least one as well, because I saw him go wide through the corner after Hanger Straight. Stowe?
Yep.
Yeah, I saw him go wide there at least once. So I think he was on 1 or 2 warnings as well. But yeah, I was just really pushing flat out to keep up, and then that can happen.
Yeah, we weren't sure if we were going to see a last-minute dive coming into one of the final sort of sections of corners there, just as a last-ditch attempt to make the pass. But then
I
at the same time, you don't want
literally
to throw away the second.
no, I literally had nothing left either. Like the last 2 laps, I emptied everything in the fuel tank and all the ERS I had left, and still the closest I would come was like 4 tenths. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
already amazing. At least I think so that I stayed within his DRS, because I fully expected that he pushed me out, and then I couldn't keep the same pace, obviously, because I think in the 2S event I was doing 27 mid to 27 low on mediums, and here I was suddenly doing 26 high, 26 mid, and that's only because of his DRS. So if I dropped out, that would have been game over, and I'd finished like 6-7 seconds behind. He
Yeah,
was just too
exactly.
fast.
I mean, we were watching the ERS that both of you using. It did look like you consistently had about twice whatever he normally tended to have. So you'd be coming down the Wellington straight, or at the start of the straight, you'd have about 30%. He'd be down at 15 already, trying to
Yeah,
obviously
I know.
defend from your DRS. So it was looking very touch and go towards the last few laps there. And yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
a fantastic race that.
I mean, I would have obviously saved more ERS for the final laps, but I had to use the ERS just before the detection zone so I could have DRS and save there. So that was a bit the strategy, but then you only get stuck hanging on. And only in the last 2 laps I risked like emptying the entire ERS, and it still didn't make a difference. So yeah, at the end of the day, he was just quicker.
It was
That's the story.
a phenomenal effort all the same, and really great fun to watch as well. So no, well done, and yeah, congratulations on driver of the day again as well.
Yeah, I'm just a bit like unhappy that I drove Silverstone 3 times this week, and 3 times I finished second, and 3 times it was like within a few tenths. So like, why can't I win this race? I feel like it's one of my best tracks, but there's always someone quicker or smarter. So yeah, that kind of sucks.
And looking at the standings, Hammer, you've got a comfortable lead out there. Obviously, you don't want to get too comfortable. There's still quite a way to go in the championship. But
Mm.
how are you feeling at this point? I mean, I see your nearest contender wasn't even on track today, Silent.
Yeah, he's moved to tier 1, so.
Oh, okay, but you do have the guys like X Crystals as well. You know, he's definitely a threat. If he can string
Well,
some good results together.
I'm most worried about Chan now. I mean, he did luckily only join last race, but if he keeps this up and I make 1 or 2 mistakes, it could still become close. So I just need to get that like P2, P3, P4, like keep finishing top 5, and then I think I'm safe. But my God, is he quick?
What about Hungary then? How are you feeling about that? That race? I think I've already asked you this question, haven't I, in another race?
Yeah, an SLR. Yeah. I mean, I did practice Hungary already yesterday, and I did a really quick time after like 50 laps of TT.
Well, like
So now
13.
it's
What did you do? 13 low? 13?
12.6.
Oh, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Boosty, get this
I
guy out
did
of here.
50. I did 50 laps of it, so it was kind of try-harding. But now I'm
Jeez.
gonna try practice sessions for the remainder to see what the tires are like with wear and stuff.
Yeah, it's a trickier
yeah.
racetrack I find at Hungary because it's
it's really
it maybe isn't physically, but it certainly feels a lot thinner, the track itself physically.
I mean,
and then of course it's so easy just to put a wheel wrong and pick up penalties as well.
And if you hit those inside curbs on some of the corners, you instantly spin out, even with medium traction. So that doesn't save you there. So yeah, Chief remembers.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
you saw it in his back mirrors.
I rewatched that race the other day. Yeah, you would have had me definitely if you hadn't have been for that spin. So I am thankful for that. Appreciate it, bro. Do it again.
Yeah, sometimes you have to give.
I will. I don't forget. Well, actually, I do. I forget often, but yeah. So I think that's it. I mean, with no one else to interview, it seems like the tier 2 guys are shy or.
Yeah, they're afraid.
Yeah, they're afraid to be scrutinized by the old man. But yeah, I mean, you driver of the day, Val Endeavour, P2 in the end, against a very, very fast guy, it seems. So congrats on that one. Obviously, the win would have been much more appreciated from your side, but you did everything you could have done, I think, today. And yeah, that medium soft strat is pretty good. If you can, I think that was the key for him as well. Was like,
I mean,
you know,
I tried the same, but I had like a 24.4 on mediums, and that would have been like P8, and that's just for me. That's just a bit too far because I know I'm less good in traffic than most people are because I'm a bit on the cautious side, as you know. So then I prefer to go out on softs, and he did a 24.2 on mediums, and that's just the difference. If I could do a 24.2 on mediums, I would have done the same, but it's just out of my reach.
Yeah, and I mean with the medium soft, I mean it is the preferred strategy in Silverstone, but the problem is, you know, you want to get that you know, a good bit of clear air in front of you when you come out of the pits, which you did have, you know, even though you're on that soft medium, you came out with a pretty hefty gap ahead of you, so you were able to stretch your legs. But I think same happened with Chen. He came out pretty good spot.
Yeah, he came out like 4 seconds behind, and he closed it in like 3 laps. So
Yeah.
It
Yes.
was just at that point also already when I saw he gained like a second in the first one, I was already like, okay, save your ERS, and then when he passes you, try to use everything you have to hang on and hope these tires die. That was basically the strat. But yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for joining us in the commentary booth. Valiant effort from you once again, man, and look forward to seeing you how you do over the next over the rest of the season.
Cool. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bye now. Well, Boosted, that's it. There's no one else who wants to talk to us. So
That's it, yeah.
you know me. I like my interviews. They usually go on for about 40 minutes, maybe sometimes longer than the race itself, but not today. We'll spare you today. You can. I think it's time for our Sunday roast. I think, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll sit back and relax as we watch the Tier 1 race, which is coming up in half an hour, I believe. So.
Yeah, so tune in for that one, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and as Booster said, yeah, Tier 1 to SRL coming up next. So it's going to be another pretty good race. I mean, Silverstone is like it's one of my favorite tracks, but not only to drive but also to just to watch. Because, like you say, a lot of guys, it's their favorite track, and we have some very, very fast drivers in both leagues at the minute. So we'll see two SRL's finest go at it at Silverstone in roughly about an hour's time, I think it is. But until then, we will catch you guys later, and we'll speak to you again soon. Thanks now, bye bye.
Bye.